Hey everybody, this is PJ Riley from Lancaster Archery out here on a steamy November day, 70 some degrees. I'm wearing shorts, unbelievable, but it is a great day that we get to tell you about the new Mathews 2023 hunting bows, the Phase 433 and the Phase 429. Awesome new bows from Mathews, a very innovative new feature that for me made this what I'm gonna say is the nicest Mathews bow that I have ever shot. V3X33, that's what I'm shooting right now. I love that bow. That's my favorite Mathews bow of all time until I picked this one up and shot them side by side. And I think I might like this one a little better. Haven't had a year's worth of time with it to see how it is accuracy, but shooting experience, there is nothing like this, these Phase 4 bows. So we'll tell you all about that in a second, but first let's get the specs for the Phase 433, Phase 429. The Mathews Phase 433 measures 33 inches axle to axle. It's got an IBO speed rating of 336 feet per second. Brace height, 6 1/2 inches. The let-off, depending on mod, is 80 or 85%. The bow is gonna weigh 4.68 pounds. The draw lengths are going to be mod-based and the range is going to be from 27 inches to 31.5 inches. Peak draw weights on the SwitchWeight system, 60, 65, 70, and 75 pounds. The Mathews Phase 429 measures 29 inches axle to axle. It's got an IBO speed rating of 340 feet per second. The brace height is 6 inches. Let off, depending on the module, is going to be 80 or 85%. The bow is going to weigh 4.48 pounds. Draw length is going to be mod-based and the range is 25.5 to 30 inches. And peak draw weights on the SwitchWeight system is going to be 60, 65, 70, and 75 pounds. Okay, so the Phase 4 bows, 33 and 29. Those are the exact same axle-to-axle lengths as the V3X. And I'll be honest, if you hold these bows, if you hold this one right up next to the V3X 33, it's basically identical, except for the limbs. I'll tell you about that in a second. But the geometry, the riser lengths, cam, everything about them is identical, which is probably why I like this one so much, the Phase 433. So as far as from year to year, most of this bow is like the V3X33, but here's where Mathews really went into the innovative circle. You can see right here, Phase 4. So what they did, they wanted to attack vibration. Now V3X, if you shot either of those bows last year, you know they didn't have much vibration. However, I can tell you the difference is noticeable. I shot them side by side, and this one there is noticeably less vibration and wicked quiet. I mean, this thing hardly makes any sound at the shot. It's unbelievable. You got to see it to experience it for yourself. Dude, this thing is stupid quiet. But how they did that was right here. You can see this rubber strip down the middle here, and this is actually 4 limbs right here. There are 8 limb pieces per bow, but these are separate pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are separate. You know, normally on the V3X33, this is going to be 1 piece and this is going to be 1 piece. Now you're going to have 8 pieces with this rubber dampening material in between. That's where they attack that vibration and noise with that setup. And it's ridiculous how quiet this bow is, both in noise and vibration. Unbelievable. So that's the big change that you're going to notice are the limbs here. That's where they really went after that vibration and noise. You know, then once we go beyond that, we do have the same cam that's going to have your SwitchWeight modules. If you're not familiar with the SwitchWeight modules, that's how you're going to change draw weight. You know, normally if you want to change draw weight, let's say I have a 50 to 60 pound bow. Okay, I have my 10-pound draw weight adjustments through the limb bolt. But if I wanted to go from 60 to 70, I'd have to get new limbs. You don't have to do that with the Mathews bows with the SwitchWeight. It's all in the module. Right now I have the 70-pound module, which means this bow is 60 to 70, but I could swap this module out and get one that goes from 55 to 65. And instead of replacing limbs, I'm just changing the module. So that is a great feature. And also with those modules, you pick which let-off you want. The specs we mentioned, you can have 80 or 85%. You do all that with the module. You pick the 80% module, 80% let-off. So you're gonna pick your draw length, draw weight, and let-off all through the module. Now for tuning, these bows are gonna incorporate the top hat system. That's a special spacer system that Mathews uses to allow you to adjust the cam left and right. In here on the axle, you're gonna see little black pieces on each side of the limbs in there. Those are different thicknesses, and Mathews makes a series of them. You would just swap them out if you wanted to move the cam left or right. It's a pretty simple system, easy to work with. You do need a bow press. All right, moving down the bow, we are gonna see here what I have connected. I have the SCS system. The SCS system is what Mathews uses. You can attach a cord to it for hauling up and down out of the tree stand. They make a special rope so there's no metal pieces. You just slide the loop over this end and you can haul this up in the tree, and there's no metal pieces, so it's super quiet. Now we mentioned the riser. So look at the relation of that riser. This is a 33-inch axle-to-axle bow, and you can see the riser is just a hair shorter than that 33 inches. And when you have that big, huge riser like that, it just makes this thing a dream to hold at full draw. They actually have a target bow, the TRX 36, and I laid them side by side, and this riser is actually the same length as their TRX 36 target bow. So big riser, super steady at full draw. I mean, this is marketed as a hunting bow, but quite honestly, this is going to make a great 3D bow as well, because you're going to get those high speeds, to get some, IBO, ASA, you want to get those arrow speeds up. This is still going to be a stable bow, and you're going to get those arrow speeds. So dual purpose bow here. Now, something else you're going to notice on these bows, last year, Mathews came out with their bridge lock sight system. You can see where this sight is actually mounted into the riser rather than onto the back. However, if you have a traditional sight, you still do have the threaded holes there, so you can mount a sight. But Mathews came up with the bridge lock, so they've been working to streamline everything. They come out with a low profile quiver. You have your bridge lock sight up here where the sight bar mounts into the riser on a dovetail. Check your sights. Not all the dovetails for the sights fit the Mathews. However, most manufacturers have at least come out with a conversion bar that fits in that Mathews bridge lock. But in keeping with that, this year, now Mathews came out with the bridge lock stabilizers. You can see there, the stabilizer is mounted into the riser, just like the sight. You do still have your standard bushing here if you have a traditional stabilizer. However, with this setup, you basically get a stabilizer. I have an 8-inch stabilizer here, but you can see I have these divots. These divots are a 1/2 inch apart, and they lock into place right here with this knob. So now I can have this set up this stabilizer any length I want out to 8 inches. And this is a more secure connection. You can see how much contact there is in the riser there for the stabilizer, as opposed to having a bolt go into the bushing. Those bolts might only have about inch and a half worth of thread going in, and then you're going to bulk up all this weight on the outside. That's not the most secure system. And when you're driving this bar into the riser, that is super solid connection there. Now I will show you, Mathews came out with their own weight system, which is pretty cool. Because no longer do you need any of those, if you were stacking a bunch of weights onto a stabilizer, you need a threaded rod, and you'd have to mount the weights onto the rod. These, as you can see here, these weights, they need no rod. This is their proprietary system. It's called interlock weight system. They just lock like that. You have your end cap. I'm going to lock that into place once I get it in there. Have an Allen screw on the back, locking screw. Now that's in there. You got your harmonic dampener in there. That's going to help with killing the vibration throughout the bow. So just a great stabilizer. Mathews has these stabilizers in lengths of 8, 10, and 12. They also came out with their own, because this is a unique bar on the back here, they came out with their own side rod connection. You can see right here, so I can run the side rod. Right in here, I've got my side rod mounted. Again, you can slide that in or out, get it positioned wherever you want it. So that is the Mathews bridge lock side rod connection mount. Lastly, something Mathews has had on their bows the last couple years, again, V3X, this basically looks identical to it except for the limbs, is you're going to have your nano harmonic dampener out in front here. This thing attacks that vibration right there above that lower limb pocket, does a great job of killing vibration. Up here at the grip, so your bow is going to come from the factory with the Engage grip on there. It is a rubbery grip. It's got some texture on the back. Great for holding on to your hand there. Great when it's cold, unlike today, but it's going to be warm on those cold days. If you don't like this grip, you can pop it off. The riser underneath is finished, and Mathews makes what they call side plates. And so you're just going to attach side plates, and your hand will actually sit on the back of the riser. And compared to the Engage grip, the riser, I would say, is a little bit flatter. The Engage grip has like a rounded surface this way, whereas if you take this off and just shoot off the riser, that's more flat. So flexibility, you get to pick however you want to do it. Now up here we do have, once again, we have the machined dovetail in here so you can mount an integrate style rest. That completes the system of streamlining everything. If you want, now nothing is sticking off the side of the bow except your quiver. You've got your sight into the riser, you've got your rest mounted on the back of the riser, nothing out here, and you've got your stabilizer into the riser. That's as streamlined as you can get it. There is still a standard burger hole here. If you have a traditional bolt-on rest, you still can do that, but the integrate dovetail, that's going to allow you to use that integrate style rest. All right, something else we've seen the last couple years from Mathews is this angled cable arm right here. They call this their Centerguard cable arm. So this is their cable roller. This is what your cable is going to roll through when you're drawing. You're going to have cables traveling in each direction on rollers. And the reason Mathews has this angled is now they put it exactly in the center between the two cams. And what that's doing is just making sure that the load is the same on each cam. When you draw back, both cams are doing exactly the same thing. So it just helps with tuning, knock travel, those sorts of issues with that Centerguard cable system. All right, something else Mathews carried over from last year is last year we saw the introduction of the Stay Afield system. It's basically a system Mathews came up with to where you can carry a bow press with you. It's just a simple length of rope. It weighs nothing. And you're going to connect it. You're going to see two posts on each cam, one right here and one up top here. And by connecting this Stay Afield system to each of the cams on those posts, it will allow you to take the tension off so that you can work on each cable and your bowstring. So if you are going into the back country, some of those portable bow presses, they can add weight to your pack. This thing weighs nothing. And so you can do some work if you need to, emergency work, on your string or cables in the field with the Stay Afield. So that's something else we saw Mathews carry over to the Phase 4 bows. Okay, so if you follow me on social media at all, earlier this year, the guys from Bow Hunter Die asked me what was my favorite Mathews of all time. And initially I had just gotten the V3X and I said it was the Traverse. I had just gotten the V3X, hadn't got to spend too much time with it. Once I spent some time with the V3X 33, I updated my pick and said that was my favorite bow. So this Phase 4 33, again, everything about it is identical to the V3X 33 except the limbs. And so I haven't had time to, a year spent shooting this bow to test it out for accuracy and how it holds at distance, that kind of thing. But the shooting experience, I can tell you, this one exceeds the V3X 33. I shot them side by side just so I could feel the difference. Here's the V3X 33, here's the Phase 4 33, one shot after another. This thing is quieter and less vibration. There's almost no vibration in the V3X 33 anyway. This one, it's noticeably different. That's how much they reduced it. So I just couldn't believe it when I took a shot. It's almost like it's not a bow going off in my hands. Just incredible how quiet and vibration free it is. Again, I'm a big fan of this long riser. Between the two, my favorite is going to be the V3X 33. However, for bow hunters, eastern tree stand, ground blind hunters who want a shorter bow, they're concerned about maneuverability, you do have the 29. That one's going to work great for you folks. This is the wheelhouse for me. This is the bow that I like to shoot, and it just holds. The little testing I have done with it, it holds incredible, shoots great, and just so that vibration, the arrow's gone by the time you feel that vibration. But it's something in your brain that has to do with anticipation. When there is less vibration, I find I'm just more comfortable at full draw than when I'm anticipating that heavier hand shock. I'm just a little less comfortable than I am when there's hardly any hand shock. So that's one of the things I notice. I just feel super comfortable shooting this bow. It was easy to get tuned. I didn't even have to play with the top hats. Just set my center shot from my rest 13/16 from the riser. Got my knock travel, bullet hole. These things are a dream to tune. Those of you who have worked with them, you know that already. And this one keeps in line with that. Now the accessories, this bridge lock stabilizer system, it is super solid in there with just this locking knob here, locking that stabilizer into position. And I can certainly see the benefits of having that. If I want to adjust that stabilizer in and out, I can. You can't do that with a regular stabilizer. Whatever length you get, that's what it is. But with this one, I can slide it in or out, get that balance point exactly where I want it. You can stack weights. I could add weights to this if I want to. And of course, that bridge lock sight system, I have been running a bridge lock sight mounted in here. That thing is just awesome with the working in conjunction with the low profile quiver. Since I don't have a big sight knob out here, my quiver sits almost flush right up against the riser, just keeping everything compact. All right, so super bows from Mathews this year, the Phase 4 29 and 33. You've got to get out to your local pro shop and test shoot one of these things for yourself to see just what I'm talking about. People say, oh, you say every year, that's my favorite bow and that's the best shooting bow. Well, it's possible to make improvements from year to year. And with the V3X 33, I'll be honest, I didn't think they were going to be able to make improvements upon that. But quieting it down and reducing what little hand vibration there was, it definitely does make this a nicer shooter experience. I'm expecting that I'll be able to get the performance as I did with my V3X 33. So tentatively, I'm going to say this is my favorite Mathews bow, but I haven't put it through all the paces yet. So great shooting bows, I can say, from Mathews, the Phase 4 29 33. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click that bell to get notifications whenever we put out new videos. As always, if you have any questions, you can visit us at LancasterArchery.com.